I actually got a chance to watch this on Netflix, the Kanye and Letterman. Got a chance to watch that. I know you said you watched. If you said you watched some of it,
I caught some of it. Yeah.
I mean, it still hit on some of the topics that we've discussed, whether it be through music or, just in general with him in the news. But what I found interesting was Letterman kind of called him out for his ranting about Trump and, the hat situation and all that. But he asked him, he's like, do you vote? Kanye's like, no, I've never voted. And Letterman's like, well, none of that, and I'm paraphrasing here, but none of that shit that you've been doing matters. And like Kanye was like, you could tell he kind of got in his feelings a little bit. He was like,
Did he have a smile on his face?
Yeah, he had a big smile on his face. He was like, ooh, he got me there. Like, that's what he said to the crowd. But I could tell he was kind of in his feelings because Dave was, he wasn't rude, but he just was like, yo, you doing all this shit, but you really not voting, fam. Like, what's up? I found it interesting because I haven't heard anyone present that to him. That was the first time I saw that, and I could tell he was a little bothered by it. He touched on his bipolar situation in terms of his being diagnosed and how it works, and he used the comparison to having like a sprained brain is what he said. Like if somebody has a sprained ankle, you don't make them stay on the sprained ankle and use it. You make them stay away from it. He's like, it's like a sprained brain is what he said. And he talks about his episodes and things of that nature. He talked about his mom passing away and how much she would be enjoying his kids at this point now. But the reason I thought it was interesting is because it was one of the first times I saw in a long time him actually look somewhat normal, like from a standpoint of just being a dude that has a family and is just trying to be a creative and all that. So there wasn't much weird Kanye type stuff. Now he gets into some of that. You can see some of that stuff flare up, but it was good to see him just sit down and have a conversation. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. Like, did you kind of get the vibe from that from what you saw?
He carried himself well
right.
in that situation as far as being able to articulate what he was trying to say versus just saying whatever off the cuff. Right. I did notice that. But I think what it is with Kanye, he's so absorbed in not following the norm and trying to be different and not follow the rules. And that, I think, is what makes him drawn to Trump. Just so he can say, well, everybody else doesn't like him, I'm going to like him.
I'm going to like him.
Because nobody can tell me what to do.
Right.
And he takes me as that type of person. And what happens with that, too, though, because you get a lot of people that actually follow that dialect that Kanye speaks on.
Log.
Yeah.
I see.
Just trying to help you out, that's all.
Got you.
And it's so different.
Is it?
Yeah, go ahead, man.
Yeah, it is. But it's
so different. So different.
Maybe I learned from last week,
I feel you. Yeah. Go ahead, man.
It makes it actually ends up making them, because they're so worried about not being bottled in and being a part of the everyday thing. But
Spoolz know. That's why he laughing.
I don't even know what we laughing at.
Yeah.
Somebody fill me in.
It's just different because he just ran to you. He came to your assistance and was like, oh, I got you, man. It's cool, brother. But if, I say something, you hear Red August giggling like he in the 4th grade and, everybody's laughing. But it's cool, though. I ain't mad. I'm not mad.
Terry didn't deflect. He said, huh? I said, I was just helping.
Okay, like, I'm going to start doing then. That's what I need to do.
And then we moved on.
All right. Yeah. So next time I say something and I mess up Red August, I'm going to be like, huh?
Just don't be passive-aggressive about it next time.
I ain't mad now. Go ahead.
Yeah. That's why we just had to detour to have this conversation.
But
yeah,
that's some Kanye behavior right there.
Is that Kanye behavior? Go ahead, man.
Kinda, yeah.
Kinda.
But people are so absorbed in wanting to be different and not following the trend and the norm, and it actually makes you the exact same way, because you're not with this group of people, but now you're with this group of people. You know what I'm saying? So just because you don't follow this ideology or whatever, you're doing this one, which is essentially the same thing to me, because you're not this whole free thinking and I do what I want, march to the beat of my own drum.
That's his whole thing.
It doesn't make any sense if you're not necessarily doing that. Y'all follow me?
I think a lot of it comes down to his narcissism, really.
Well, he said, and this is one of the quotes that stuck out to me. He said people always try to assess him and say what his superpower is, and he said his superpower is the fact that he always goes opposite. That's his superpower. The fact that
he said he's.
Did I say that wrong?
No, you said it right. But he was speaking about Andy Kaufman.
Yeah,
He's like being ahead of the joke,
right,
all the time. So in his mind, he thinks he's ahead of everybody, which I mean, in some cases maybe you are.
Yep.
But not overall. And I think people, and this is a general thing, everybody thinks they're dope or they have the best ideas all the time.
Right.
Nobody's that fucking good.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Everybody slips up sometime or comes up with a shitty idea that doesn't need to be done or whatever. Like, I don't know.
But as an artist and in general as a person, when you sit down and make stuff or whatever you do you make stuff with the intent of being like, you know what, I'm going to make this just so that I can go out there and be like, I'm so ahead of my time. Like, you know what I mean? Like, it's like he's doing it on purpose as opposed to just making and doing
but it has
doing
to be executed, right? Like, I seen Rick Rubin tweeted about something similar to that. Like, having an idea and not capitalizing on it as far as thinking it all the way through before you release it is worse than actually not having that idea, because it could have been so much better and you just pretty much just gave a generic version of it just to get it out there.
Had you thought it out and went through the...
Right.
Okay, I follow you. That's tough. Jump in, Spoolz. I'm sorry.
Oh, no, I've not seen the interview. I'd like to watch it now, especially after we're talking about it. But I like Dave Letterman a lot. I know that for sure. Since I was a kid, I've watched his show when I was a kid. Shout out to Ball State. Shout out to Broad Ripple High School. Unfortunately closed, but that's where he went to high school.
Worked for WTHR for a minute.
Yeah. Yep. I'd like to watch it. No, you know, man, and I've said this a number of times on the show. Like, I'm just not a big Kanye West fan in general. And it's aside from
well,
I think he's a talented person,
super talented, super talented.
But I don't think he's a genius. I just never got the whole he's this incredible thing vibe or feeling from Kanye West. However, I appreciate his talents and all that. But you have to see through like so much of this like veneer and bullshit to be able to get to that with Kanye West these days, unfortunately.
I think this interview did him justice, though.
Which has to be tough as a Kanye West fan. Right. I would think it's just like, why is he doing this? It's like, just make the fucking music, man. Yeah. Just let it come out of your heart. Apparently, that's what that. You know, I would imagine that's probably some of the best. Just let it, you know. Now, him being a genius and constantly comparing himself to people like Steve Jobs or
Walt Disney
or Howard Hughes, and you can argue those people weren't geniuses either. You know what I'm saying? You can argue that, and then or with Andy Kaufman now, and you can say he wasn't a genius, but just what it describes is how he sees himself, and there is to what Sean said there, a narcissism. There's this megalomania that he seems to be overtaken with, this need to be not only great but different and great. Yeah, almost like it's so almost forced. But the thing is, I feel sorry. I kind of feel sorry, not in a pity way for Kanye West, but it's like, man, you're plagued by this. Yeah, it's like if you could shake that and like that wasn't. It's like it's blocking him from just being able to create and do what he does best. Yeah. But he's putting it in his own way, but he can't see that he's doing it. Yeah.
You can tell he struggles
outside of the mental, which I totally can understand. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? The mental illness or dealing with that. So, I just always hope the best for him, man, for sure. And like, I would like to watch this interview and like, but man, if he can get through like this, I have to be amazingly different. I have to be like, Andy Warhol. I have to be these people and can just make. Maybe that's what the Sunday service stuff is all about for him. Maybe it's him getting back to just feeling and like making the music and being able to do that. That's incredible if that's the case. But just all the other bullshit, I don't give a fuck, man. I just don't. I mean, and it makes me not want to it kind of just distances me from the whole Kanye West thing, you know. And then I listen to his music, I'm like, fuck this. Like, Is this even real? Is this even really what he feels or what he really wants to make at this point? Or is he just trying to do shit? You know what I mean? It's not genuine, I guess is what I'm saying.
I mean,
I could dig it.
Andy Kaufman and Andy Warhol and Basquiat and all these people
had the same problem.
Did they?
I don't know.
I mean,
Did
it's
they?
art.
Did
No,
they-
what
did
what
they
I was
walk
going to
ar-
say, well, not necessarily. I think it attributes to being an artist, and certain type of artists aren't happy with anything they fucking do, and
That's
I think that's kind of where he's at. But he still knows he's good, and he puts himself on his high horse. He actually spoke about how I used to act like I was better than Jay. Like, he was laughing about it. Like, I went back and listened to some of my shit. What the hell was I? You know what I'm saying?
Didn't he also admit that he and Jay are both very arrogant people in this interview, if I'm not mistaken? It's either this interview or a recent interview, but he basically said he and
Maybe
I
not
both are
this
similar
one.
in that we're
Maybe
both
not
highly
this one.
arrogant or self-centered or something to that. Something to that.
That may have been a
It was some
previous
about
interview.
it was some about self-centeredness or something like that. Yeah.
But I think to Terry's point though, you'll be surprised. It does do him. It's a good light. It's a good vibe for him. It's a good thing to come out. So it was good to just see him. I saw flashes of Kanye again. Is what I'm saying.
Yeah, and the thing is, that's just my 2 cents, man.
Yeah, I'm not mad. Yeah.
Like, I don't.
It's your opinion.
I honestly just don't, like, bottom of my heart want what's best for this guy. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah,
He's
Because
got a
he
pretty
does-
nice life.
He does.
He does. And he
yeah, he does.
I would love to live in Jackson Hole, Wyoming for like half the year. Honestly, I swear to God, I would love it out
Yeah.
there. That's where that's like Grand Tetons and Yellowstone National Park are, right? Like,
Kim
it's
can get
beautiful.
a new ass
And
whenever
it's,
she
like,
wants.
untouched. I mean,
Say it again
you
now.
got
Kim can get a new ass whenever she wants.
Yes, you can.
Well,
You can.
I'm
How
just
about
I mean,
that?
I just hope the best for him.
I
Yeah,
think
I'm with that.
I think the one thing that I've noticed with Kanye over the past 4 or 5 years, at least since we started the show, is that he goes on these tirades or whatever you want to call them, but then he seems to always have like a reflection where he's like reflecting on what he's doing.
Yeah.
And I think that's kind of the silver lining. You know, it seems like he's working on himself.
Yeah.
So you can't really be mad at somebody for doing that, you know.
Yeah, you have to assess.
Doesn't mean I have to pay attention to him.
Nah,
but
not at all.
Yeah,
but, you know,
absolutely.
you give people peace for being able to assess who they are and the issues that they have and address those and, you know, do
That's
that. So
more
I'm not mad
important,
at
man.
I'm not mad at that at all.
That's more important than
Yeah.
anything.
100%. Let's shout out the sponsors real quick. Shout out to Coleman Dental. Sorry, I'm ahead. Thank you.
There we go.
Shout out to Dr. Coleman, Coleman Dental. I don't have the number. I should know it by now after saying it this long.
I think it's 255-8546. Let me look that up.
Thank you.
8675309.
It's not that one.
It's not that at all. Shout out to Indie
It's a good
CD and
song, though.
Vinyl as well for continuing to partner with us and lace us with wax and things for our raffles. So shout out to them. Bringing down the band as always is The Hub. Shout out to Red August as well. And also Printfinity.
Had it right.
Did you get it right? Printfinity as well. Support your local businesses. They got some great things going on. I'm telling you, super duper dope artists working with them. You'll see that in the future. No Bad Ideas as well for lacing us as they always do.
It's a nice ball cap.
This is nice, but this is different. This is different. I'm liking these new tags they've been doing for a while
like
now. These
that.
are dope.
It reminds me of something that I might see in the Brady Bunch house.
The Brady Bunch house.
Yeah, that color scheme
Okay.
for some reason.
I ain't mad
Something
at that.
real quick you struck about what we were just talking about, if you don't mind, just real fast.
Yeah, go ahead.
There is a similarity that seems to exist amongst certain types of either pop stars or artists or musicians. I just don't know if Kanye West falls into that sort of bucket.
I think he does.
Yeah.
You think so?
A Basquiat, a Warhol,
I think he would if he
a
didn't
Jimi
have
Hendrix,
to like.
Janis Joplin,
It's
Bob Dylan,
it's his
Jim
narcissism.
Morrison. You know what I mean? Like,
I think his narcissism pulls away from that. If he was just being Kanye West and complaining regularly, but not comparing himself to these people, maybe
you think it
we
would happen naturally?
But he's always shouting these people out like, I'm Walt Disney, I'm this person.
Yeah.
It's like,
and that's an honest question. I'm not baiting you. I'm just because that caught my ear. You know what I mean?
I didn't know it was directed towards me.
Yeah, sorry. I'm totally talking to you, Terrence.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, but no, we can all talk about it. But no, did that make you uncomfortable, Mike?
No, I love
okay?
that you guys
I'm
are
sorry.
talking.
I didn't
Yeah,
wanna make you
I love that you
uncomfortable.
guys are talking.
Are you
Yeah.
comfy?
No,
Yeah,
we can
I'm
all
fine.
talk about it.
No,
but
I think-
I'm like looking at Terry.
It's all good,
I
brother.
think he likes to pick on me because he knows I still like Kanye.
Yeah,
And
I just want to know
you're
your
holding
opinion
on,
it.
though.
I want to know everyone's
Yes.
opinion, but it was something that you said that struck me. So
Yeah, I mean, I think he's just one of those dudes, man. He's one of those artists, regardless of if you hold him at that high of a level of an artist or not. I mean, he has a really good track record.
is
as far
Kanye
as
West
the-
Prince?
Kanye
Is
West is
he,
Kanye West.
is he in that same
Hell no.
category of
I
artist?
mean, when you talk about Prince, you're talking about a musician that actually created a whole sound and a whole movement.
but Kanye
which-
West, to tell you, he did the same thing.
How?
He's
You
just
tell
I see
me.
what you're doing. Yeah, I see what you're doing. Yeah,
I
see what you're doing.
haven't really heard him say that musically at all. He talks about himself as far as his creative process and being able to hear colors and shit like that, or see like different
Yeah.
colors, and it's to
That
him
DM
it sound you know,
DMT.
DMT.
yeah, that type thing. But I've never heard him say that I created groups and sounds and a whole movement. I've never heard him
On the
do
Breakfast
that.
Club, he did say everything, and this is dated back to when he was on that. It wasn't the most recent one. It's the one prior to that. He said everything in the past 10 years I've influenced in music. That's a quote. So that goes back to what you were talking about with the train of thought.
I mean,
and
he
everything.
don't-
and he has it from a
he
hip hop
abs-
standpoint.
absolutely has
100% he has
influenced a lot.
100% he has.
Like I say, he is responsible for Drake being as popular as he is, because if there wasn't an 808 and Heartbreak,
Thank you.
there wouldn't be what is Drake's mixtape?
It wouldn't be a Drake because he wouldn't have put that out.
Well, Drake was out before that.
Was he?
But we're
yeah.
talking about
But
how his
that
sound.
wave
yeah,
though,
sound went on that wave.
what is the
Yeah.
name of that mixtape, man?
It's not So Far Gone, is
So
it?
Far Gone.
So far
yeah.
gone. Yep.
I
So
guess I
Far
thought that was his
Gone.
first one. So
No,
that wasn't.
he had two.
Mm.
We had maybe more than two before that, but So Far Gone is the one that put him on.
That was the one.
Yeah, I
and
remember when that happened.
That was the one.
But that
that
was
whole wave was 808 and
It was
Heartbreak for the
808s.
most part.
That's fair. It's just something I guess it's just a lane I never got super into.
And that's
But
cool.
I will say this: I'm sure there are a number of artists I like that would list Kanye West as an influence.
No question. No question.
And that's cool. That's awesome. I don't know. Just
But
was just
for-
curious
my,
to me.
my
I just
whole
don't.
draw to Kanye was because his first album, College Dropout, sounded like an album I
Incredible
would have
album.
made if I was a rapper.
Yeah.
Like
even his production, like even like the sample producers now that are like, the way they sample stuff is influenced by Kanye.
yeah.
A
If
lot of
I
times.
could have been
Not
a
all-
rapper,
not
could
all,
have been good.
100%.
You know what I'm saying? Like even the subject matter
Yeah.
was the same exact shit I was going through at the time. So
Mm.
I think that's the kind of relationship
Sure.
throughout
That
the years. I've
connects.
kind of
Yeah.
And then we've talked to wrap it up on this topic. We've talked about Kanye. We've talked about his discography. If you think about it, his first 4 or his first 3 albums for sure, it's hard pressed to beat that in terms of an artist having that good of product for his first 3 albums.
very consistent.
College Dropout, Late Registration, Graduation. Those are 3 fucking awesome albums in a row. Like that's a whole nother we could have that conversation, but
Yeah.
that's a great start to a career if you think about it. Then 808s and then Dark Twisted Fantasy.
When you talk
that's
about
some high
influence,
level, yeah, that's some high quality music right there. But for the record, let's make sure we get this clear. He's nowhere close to the musician that Prince is. So I want to make sure we get that out there. Not even close. As an actual musician.
that's what, and the only reason I made that comment, I guess, was if you want to talk about a Basquiat and compare, like from a musical standpoint,
Mm-hmm.
subjective though.
He's
It is.
oh,
Yeah,
absolutely, it's 100%
100%.
subjective.
Because
Because
then-
you could
So-
call Kanye a Basquiat, but then you could turn around and call Prince like a Michelangelo or something.
Yeah,
because it's more
Yeah,
intricate.
so now that's getting
Style
super
it.
super subjective. Yeah, but
Right.
yeah, I feel you.
Right,
Yep.
right.